What is going on, guys? It's Yoji. Recently, I've come to wonder if the map system, which makes up a major part of Path of Exile's endgame, is not benefiting the flow of the game anymore. This has been amplified by the current Perandus League mechanics and the economy shift due to trading improvements and higher item availability in the current patch. But let me start by giving a brief explanation of how the map system currently works. Maps are items which can be consumed to generate higher level zones than those which can normally be accessed in the game. This makes them the best way for leveling your character to the highest levels, as higher level zones grant more experience. The lowest level or tier of maps can be found by killing monsters after a certain point in the game's story progression. Any higher maps can only be found in other map zones, however. While in the map zone, blue and yellow monsters have a chance to drop a map of one level higher than the map you are currently in, and the boss of each map has a chance to drop a map 2 levels higher. By crafting the map item to become more challenging, you can increase the drop rate. So much for the basics of the map system. One thing to mention is, the higher you go up in map levels, the rarer upgrades become. So you will have to invest more and more currency items to craft harder and harder maps to increase the chance of progressing to the next map tier. So the most difficult content in the game is gated by currency investment and RNG. This has become more prevalent in the current patch, where endgame gear is more accessible and easier to obtain than ever. This results in people having characters geared up to do the highest tiers of maps, but not having those highest tiers of maps available to them. This was true before this patch, but to a way lesser extent. The increased availability of gear just makes this happen quicker and for more people. Now, why do I think this is a problem? One of the major appeals of action RPGs is creating, improving and perfecting your character to the point where he feels more and more powerful each time you improve his stats, and you can then overcome more and more difficult challenges which the game provides. In Path of Exile, you can very easily reach a point where you run out of more difficult challenges for your already pretty powerful character, and this power can quickly feel meaningless if you have nothing to measure it against. Of course, you can go ahead and buy higher tier maps for your character to run, but something about investing currency that instead could be used to improve your character into challenging your character feels wrong to a lot of people. Most of the people I regularly talk to about PoE either do not buy maps at all, or even if they do, they said they don't like doing it, but it feels like a necessary evil to them after a certain point in the map progression. Especially in hardcore, buying high-end maps, to me, did often feel like paying currency to risk losing my character, and I can definitely see why this would seem counterintuitive to a lot of people. And if you do not want to pay currency to buy maps, you have to grind a lot of boring, non-challenging content to finally get to a piece of content that is actually fun and challenging to run, and after that it is back to the grind until you get lucky again. On the other hand, paying currency and grinding until you finally achieve that upgrade for your character, as for example a new piece of gear, on the other hand feels pretty awesome. I don't think any ARPG player would argue with that. Of course, how much grinding or currency exactly should be spent? Now that we can argue about. Now, some might argue that buying maps is upgrading your character, as it provides him with more experience. And I can see that point, but it just does not feel like that. Maybe it is because in life, challenges usually provide themselves a plenty, and we have to work to overcome them. Maybe that is what makes having to work for bringing up challenges and then also work to overcome them feel a bit off to people. I think a situation where challenges for your character, and with that also for you as a player, are more readily available and gaining the knowledge and power to overcome them is the main goal, could benefit Path of Exile greatly. And yes, if power was the only thing gaining your progress, it would have to be harder to obtain those gear and power upgrades to your character than it is right now. But how do you feel about this? Feel free to discuss in the comments below. Subscribe for more PoE content. I hope you enjoyed me covering a bit more of a serious topic for once. I am Yoji, and I will see you soon.